Boy, is he going to face talent right off, too, in the form of Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser. Rick Christensen will be aboard Ron's Rods and Customs, owned by Laurie Jones.
And it looks right now, right off the bat, he has more than a problem with Chip Hanauer. He has a problem with his boat.
His wife, Julie, looking on from the shore, realizing now that there is a problem with that boat. He may not get it going for the first race that he was going to be in. Meanwhile, the green flag is going out for the Miss Budweiser. Look at how that boat is balanced on the water.
Boy, he had problems the first day of testing here at Firebird Lake, but you cannot see evidence of problems now. He damaged in practice no less than 2 rudders, Dick.
Boy, he's got that boat tuned in, though, and it's very, very loose. The water is very flat here on Firebird Lake, and it doesn't roughen up too much except in that one turn we've been pointing out earlier where DeWalt Tools had problems. Other than that, it lays flat, so they've loosened the boats and tried to get them airborne as much as they can, and very little of that boat is actually touching in the water at this point.
With Ron's Rods and Custom laying dead in the water, he's going to get 400 points unchallenged, but he gets a chance to test further. You know, I was talking to Ronnie Brown, the crew chief. They've changed the length of the rudder. They've experimented with different props and rudder combinations here at this small lake.
He is really holding tight. He's taking advantage of this solo run to see how to drive that inside lane even better. Now, he set the top qualifying speed when he was running earlier this weekend, but now he is out there alone and going for race speed, and we are calculating the speed right now. The Zodiac lap speed, lap 2 at 143 miles per hour.
Boy, what a shame. The rookie wanted to get his first test of competition. Report from the pits. He has a fuel problem. He's not getting fuel to the engine, is what we're hearing.
He had a lot of problems with handling that boat a little bit earlier in the day when they were testing, but right now sits dead in the water, and that's the biggest problem he has got. The checkered flag is coming out now for the Miss Budweiser. An easy run for Chip Hanauer, but he had good speed all the way through. There you can see Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer will get 400 points. Rick Christensen will get no points for a did not start. Waffle House now prepping in the pits. They are putting a new prop on that boat. They'll try a different combination, see if they can get a little bit more speed. And Rick Christensen's day, obviously a very disappointing one so far. A long ride back to the pits. We'll be back with more in a moment. Unlimited Hydro 96 Thunder Tour presented by Las Vegas. The venue today, Phoenix, Arizona, the Gila River Casino Cup. And the next pair of boats ready to take the course.
And it'll be the turbine-powered Pico's American Dream with Dave Villwock, and he'll go against the reciprocating-powered boat, which is Mitch Evans in Chelan's Mill Bay Casino. So it's the old versus the new, the turbine versus the piston packers.
Let's go over to Steve Montgomery, who's got Chip Hanauer standing with him.
Chip, it was just you and the clock. Did you run hard?
Not really. It's unfortunate because I think this is Rick's first race, and I feel bad for him.
But he'll take the win anyway, I'm sure about that, and hopefully Rick will get going a little later today. Now, Mitch Evans pilots the Mill Bay Casino. He holds nearly every record a piston hydro can. We got his thoughts earlier on this extreme course for this boat.
It's unlike any other, that's for sure. Just from the lane positions and the shape of the course itself, it's got pretty good straightaways, but the corners are so tight, you have to completely cross the boat up to make it actually go around the corner, which in essence makes the boat cavitate. The propeller breaks loose, and then once it straightens out, it accelerates again. So it's quite a course, quite a challenge to run on.
So far, he's having a lot better luck than Rick Christensen had in the last race. Let's get Rick's thoughts.
Well, you got a lot of time on the water. It just wasn't the way you wanted it first time out.
Was it? No, I don't know. We seemed to have some corrosion in one of the switches. It started to work and then just went out. So I'm not really sure. When it got a little bit of water in there, it just went right out. So
I know you weren't expecting to win, but it would have been fun to run a couple of laps anyway.
we were sure looking forward to it. We'll be back, though.
So it is old against new on the course right now. Dave Villwock in the turbine-powered U100. Mitch Evans in the piston-packed U3. There's the green flag. They are off and running on the inside lane. The turbine boat has the distinct advantage coming out of turn number 1. Pico's American Dream was the fastest single-lap qualifier of the weekend, 149.269 miles per hour.
This is the Mill Bay Casino. It's the heaviest boat on the circuit, 6,700 pounds. And Dick, they lightened that boat in the off-season.
Well, it looks like it's riding a little bit better, but it's got quite a challenge trying to catch that turbine-powered Pico's American Dream. It looks like Dave Vilwalk really has that boat dialed in, and he is really going for it. Pico's American Dream, red, white, and blue, the predominant color on the boat. As he comes down the straightaway, he sets it up along the buoy line. Then he throws the boat into the turn. The skid fin catches on and explodes a rooster tail, a secondary tail. As he comes out, oh, he lost the back end. He fishtailed just a bit, but got it right back under control. My guess is he probably had watched earlier when DeWalt Tools had a problem out there. It was somewhat prepared for the water in that turn, but he did a great job pulling the boat around. At the end of lap 2, Zodiac lap speed 132 miles per hour for Pico's American Dream.
And one more lap to go, and it'll be 400 points for a first-place finish for Pico's American Dream. Second place boat right now is the only piston packer, as we said. Allison World War II fighter engines, turbo-powered in this boat. The turbo system returns and reburns the exhaust for added boost, and he holds every record in the reciprocating engine class in Unlimited.
I'll tell you what, a lot of folks really miss those boats because that's where the term Thunderboat actually came from. When you had 5 or 6 of those on a course, boy, they sounded loud, and they were thundering. Here we come down for the checkered flag. Vilwalk in Pico's American Dream, looking good. Takes the checkered flag. He'll get the 400 points to advance in the winner's bracket. Chalons Mill Bay Casino, 300 points off to the consolation bracket.
130.3 mile an hour average, the fastest of the day so far here at Firebird Lake in Phoenix, Arizona.
Mark Tate has been watching all day long how that course has handled the various boats. Now it's his turn. He's climbing aboard the Smokin' Joe's, getting ready for our next heat. Meanwhile, the Miss Budweiser camp getting ready for round 2 action. More in round 1 when Speed World continues. Jones in the U9 Miss X-Side, owned by his wife, Lori Jones.
I mentioned earlier that the Smokin' Joe's team during the off-season made a lot of modifications, rebuilt the boat from stem to stern. And during qualifications, they again changed the boat. That's crew chief Jim Lucero with the planer. Lots of hammering, lots of changes being made right in the pit area.
And they're coming up on the green flag now to start this elimination heat. The camel-powered Smokin' Joe's is the boat on the right. There's the green flag. Green flag signifies go. On the outside, it's Miss X-Side, Mike Jones driving. Inside advantage coming out of turn number 1. Let's take a look at what Mark Tate sees as he streaks across this water here on Firebird Lake outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Those buoys are passing by fast. Remember, he must stay, in this case, in the inside lane. That's where he started. That's where he has to finish. You can see he's got about a 7-boat advantage over second place, Mike Jones, in the Miss X-Side.
And again, we look inside the cockpit. Mark Tate, the national champion from 1995, driving toward the completion of lap number 2. The X-Side, driven by Mike Jones. He hasn't had much time in this boat, Dick. He's got to get more experience for the Gold Cup coming up next.
And you can see 131 miles per hour for our Zodiac lap speed for the Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate has really got the boat going. He's right up there with the fastest boats of the day as he continues to dominate in this race. There's the Miss X-Side. These two boats really look very similar because of the yellow on the sponsons on both of them. The camel-powered Smokin' Joe's is doing its job out here, though, and we go back inside the cockpit, and there's trouble. Trouble for the Smokin' Joe's. You can see the water starting to come up over the front end of the boat. The question is, can Mike Jones in the Miss X-Side catch and then pass the Smokin' Joe's? We don't know what the problem is, but the boat has definitely lost power. Now it looks like he's powering on again.
But he's lost a lot of ground now as Lori Jones, the owner of the X-Side, looks on, and her husband in lane number 2 on the outside trying to catch the boat on the right, the Smokin' Joe's, with less than a lap to go.
Checkered flag is coming out, and Smokin' Joe's is back under power again. You see that exploding rooster tail. Steve Woomer, the owner of that boat, Smokin' Joe's, inside the cockpit now as Mark Tate looks up to see the checkered flag. comes around that final turn, bounces the boat across the water to keep his speed high, gets off it as he powers back on again on the straightaway, looking at the checkered flag. He is going to take himself 400 points back to the pits. There's the checkered flag. Smokin' Joe's takes the win. Miss Exide moves on into the Consolation.
And he wins 400 points and moves on in the winner's bracket, but not without incident. Let's look at the Smokin' Joe's. He comes off that corner number 2 down the back chute. He starts to slow down. Something pops and lets go. Water comes over the bow. He's almost off plane at this point, but luckily he had a big enough lead to restart and go on to victory.
Here's the final 4 advancing to the winner's bracket. Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser, the U1, Mark Evans in the U99.9, known as Waffle House. Also the U10, Mark Tate and Smokin' Joe's. And the U100, Dave Vilwalk in Pico's American Dream. We'll be back in just a moment. That inside lane is the Miss Budweiser with Chip Hanauer. The outside lane will be Mark Evans in the Waffle House boat. They're going to come around for the green flag.
We're getting word from the UHR radio that the Budweiser has struck a buoy, and he has. Look at his right sponson. It is flapping in the breeze, if you will.
Chip Hanauer will get a lap penalty at least on that. There we're looking from the pit area. Obviously, the word has already gotten into the pit area. Fred Leland standing there getting the word unofficially. Now, Fred Leland has to know that his boat has the advantage now because Chip Hanauer will pick up a 1-lap penalty, and I think that's what he's doing, is running out to one of his crewmen right now to make sure that Mark Evans is informed that he is going to have a 1-lap advantage over the Miss Budweiser.
And that means the only way the Budweiser could win is in less than 3 laps completely come around and lap the Miss Waffle House. So all the Waffle House has to do is keep it going in the engine housing, and he'll eliminate the Budweiser from any chance of winning this race.
Well, right now the Waffle House has got a good run going, and of course Chip Hanauer is not going to let up at all on that pedal. He's going to keep going. He knows anything can happen in racing, so he will definitely put the boat on the edge as he just did there, and he took it completely out of the water. The skid fin was holding it in, and that's all she had. Now he hangs it on the hook, 132 miles per hour on the Zodiac lap speed for lap number 1. That buoy still flapping on the right side as the driver looks out of the cockpit. He can see it clear as a bell. Mark Evans is losing a rooster tail. Mark Evans in the outside lane has gone down. He has lost power on the boat.
Mark Evans has got 1 lap to get this boat, the Waffle House, back on plane because he has a 1-lap advantage due to the penalty lap to the Bud. Let's see what happens.
It does not look good out there now. There comes the cockpit. That's it. The Waffle House is out of it. Miss Budweiser, with that 1-lap penalty, is going to win the race.
And by UHRA rules, Dick, any cockpit that opens on the course voluntarily or involuntarily eliminates you from that heat action. So it must be a pretty serious problem in the Waffle House for Mark Evans to open up the cockpit. We're looking at the winner, Miss Budweiser. It's a 4-lap victory due to the penalty lap. The elapsed time will be high. As he advances to the winner-take-all final, he might not get lane choice.
That's right, because he's going to face either Pico's American Dream or the Smokin' Joe's. Those will be the 2 boats battling in a few moments. Oh, Mark Evans says to the crowd, what can you do? It's just one of those days. You have it in any sport, and he's having it today. He had victory in his hand because of that buoy that still sits on the sponson of the Miss Budweiser, but there sits the man who had it all wrapped up. He gives a wave to Chip Hanauer. He knows there's nothing more that can be done. The checkered flag goes to the Miss Budweiser, so Chip Hanauer gets the luck, if you will, to advance. He has 800 points on the day. Waffle House did not finish, so he still stands at 400 points and will move to the consolation round. Mark Evans playing it to the crowd just a little bit. He's one of the most popular drivers on the circuit. There you see a very intense driver, Mark Tate, as he prepares to go against Pico's American Dream in the final round. This is a little embarrassing. Pulling back into the pits, you win the race with a buoy on the front of your boat. The owner of the boat, Bernie Little, is standing down on the docks watching it come in. Let's get his comments on this.
Bernie, it's kind of costly, but hey, it could have been worse.
Yeah. Well, I can't say we hit the buoy. I think the buoy got up and got us. But anyhow, it's too bad. I'm sorry to see Mark break down because they had a good race going. And
this keeps you in the winner's bracket, but it cost you some time.
Yeah, it did, and it probably cost us, it could cost us a race because now we're going to have to go on the outside, and it's going to be awful hard to beat a boat on the inside that's running good.
Well, you get a bad break. Well, at least Mark's got waffles to eat. We'll be back in a moment. Well, the towels are off two of the props, off the Pico's American Dream and the Smokin' Joe's as they get ready for our final round of semifinals. This will determine the other berth in the final heat. There's the green flag, and we're off and running. Smokin' Joe's is to the left of your screen. Pico's American Dream on the inside lane. Inside of Smokin' Joe's, look at the rooster tail off to the left as he tries to catch Dave Villwock in the American Dream.
The winner of this 3-lap shootout advances to the winner-take-all final against Miss Budweiser. The loser of these two boats can hope for no better than third.
Boy, it's great to see those boats side by side, and all of a sudden you can see Dave Villwock cock the Pico's American Dream as he hit the turn ahead of the boat on the outside, Smokin' Joe's. Right now, Pico's American Dream has about a 5-boat advantage over Mark Tate, and there you can see the difference as you look through the cockpit of the Smokin' Joe's. Look how far ahead that rooster tail is. He's trying to catch him on the inside. 141 miles per hour, our Zodiac lap speed for Pico's American Dream.
And that, Dick, is the fastest competitive lap here on Firebird Lake today as Dave Villwock hangs the boat on that skid fin that Steve Montgomery was talking about and comes down with one more lap to go.
As you watch these boats in the turns, watch the skid fin action because it actually explodes a rooster tail. Another rooster tail comes off as the boat grabs onto the water. Good run for Smokin' Joe's, but not good enough so far to catch Pico's American Dream. Owner Fred Leland watching from the sidelines.
And we've learned from the Leland camp that it was a gearbox failure, a bearing burned out that knocked the Waffle House out of competition with Budweiser. Leland has to be thinking right now, hey, if the Waffle House had not burned out that bearing in the gearbox, he'd have both boats in the final because he owns this one too, who's about to take the checkered flag.
The checkered flag is out for Pico's American Dream. Dave Villwock has had a flawless day, and he will get lane choice in the finals. The owner very happy with the choice. Dave Villwock, Pico's American Dream, will face off against Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser for the final race of the day. But first, Mark Evans will get an opportunity to try for third place against Smokin' Joe's. They are replacing the gearbox in the Waffle House. There's a brand new bullet, if you will, going into the Miss Budweiser as they get ready to battle Pico's American Dream. Pico's back into the dock now. Dave Villwock very happy, we're sure. The Fruit of the Loom results show Pico's American Dream with 800 points on the day. Smokin' Joe's with 700. They've done an awful lot of work on this boat. This was not an idle team in the off-season.
No, the Pico engines were worked on over at Progressive Tool in the Detroit area all winter long on the dyno. They received a lot of technical help from the Pico engineers, and they feel they're really ready this year.
Well, it looks like they're going to be all set. Let's get some reaction from Dave Villwock.
David, you'll have lane choice in the final. Any question where you want to go?
I don't think so. Boat ran good there. Crew gave it a new setup for that run and gave it another engine, and it looked like it ran real good. I don't know what our times were, but boat handled great.
And you're in the final.
Yeah, thanks, Pico. You got us here. We're going to do the best we can.
Stay tuned. We've got more in a moment. In 2A, Mike Hansen met with rookie Rick Christensen. Again, Christensen had problems. He was unable to get the Ron's Rod and Custom going, so DeWalt had a free ride. Mike Hansen virtually had the lake to himself. In Heat 2B, Mike Jones, who's driving the Miss X side, was on the outside lane. He gets his first unlimited heat victory because look at there. Mitch Evans lost the back end coming around the turn and spun the boat out. He fights hard. That's a heavy boat, and he fights hard to get it back into contention. But from there on out, Miss Exide took it pretty easily. Steve talked to Mike after his first big win.
Well, it's a victory. Nice job. That's your first ever in the Unlimited.
That's right. We'll take it any way we can get it. We got to thank Exide for helping us out.
It does get rough on that turn, but you got through it better than Mitch did.
Well, each time they tell me to go a little faster, so one of these days I'll get it straight.
Then for fifth place, Heat 3A in the Consolation eliminations, Hansen and the DeWalt Tools had the inside lane, and Mike Jones and the X side the outside. Well, DeWalt took to checker and fifth place, and our man Steve Montgomery was there again.
You made a lot lot of changes over the winter. Too early to tell?
Well, this course is awfully hard to learn much on in comparison to something like Detroit or Madison, but I think the boat's a lot better boat than it has been in past. I mean, we did have one problem in the turns, but I think just about everybody here has.
In the competition cabs unlimited lights, Dave Bender, the defending champion here at Firebird Lake from last year, took the lead again this year. He didn't let go. Mark Webber in the Pennzoil Pontiac battled for second the entire heat with Randy Haas in Miss Leroy. Now, it was interesting because Bender didn't have any problem at all from the start of this race. He is the defending champion here, but that was the only race that he won last year. Today, he starts out again running away from the rest of the pack. Now, look at the battle for second place. It's Mark Webber on the inside and Randy Haas on the outside. Watch closely now as Haas tries to hold off Webber, but Webber, as they come into the turn, he powers on. Mark Webber is going to take second place. Dave Bender, meanwhile, has no competition at all. He comes across for the checkered flag. The competition camps results: Miss Personal Touch, Dave Bender, Mark Webber in the Pennzoil Pontiac second, Randy Haas, then the Pocket Mechanic and Hop Racing.
David, new sponsors, same result. What is it with you and this race course?
Well, I don't know. I think this boat is just built for this course. And I got to tell you, the people at Personal Touch Auto Body came together with a great program and the paint scheme and so forth. And my engine man, Bud Gilbert, put together a great motor for us for the weekend. And the whole crew just did a great job.
We're moving back into the unlimited hydroplanes now. Mark Evans heading out onto the dock, getting ready for his battle for third place. He'll be taking on the Smokin' Joes, which you can see off in the distance. Meanwhile, Mark's teammate, Dave Bilwalk, trying to keep cool as the temperatures here in Phoenix top the century mark. We'll be back to Firebird Lake in a moment. Back here at Firebird Lake, the Gila River Unlimited Casino Cup. They are testing out the Pico's American Dream as they get ready to race for the championship here later today. But first, let's determine third place in the semifinal heat. Mark Evans in the Waffle House against Mark Tate in Smokin' Joe's. It'll be Tate on the inside, Evans on the outside. There's the green flag. We are underway.
On the right of your screen, it is the Smokin' Joe's with Mark Tate out of Detroit, and from Chelan, Washington, following him through on the outside in the red boat, it is Mark Evans in the Waffle House.
We'll see if the Waffle House can get up into contention on this one. The favored lane has been the inside lane. You'll remember when the Waffle House was going against the Miss Budweiser, even though the Miss Budweiser got penalized a lap, Waffle House went dead in the water. They had a major problem happen to the boat, and he knew it right away. Boy, it looks like they have dialed in the Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate is doing a great job. As we look down from the Labatt eye in the sky, you can see the distance between first and second place. You can also see how narrow this course is. Remember, they must stay in their respective lanes.
Lap number one for Smokin' Joe's with Mark Tate driving 135.5, about 4 miles off the pace. Mark Evans in the Waffle House. Look at this view from inside Smokin' Joe's.
We got to remember that Smokin' Joe's also had some problems earlier on. Right now, he is running flawlessly, though. Mark Tate getting a very solid run for this boat in what has otherwise been somewhat of a frustrating day for him. Those problems eliminated him against the Miss Exide earlier. Smokin' Joe's comes through the turn, and this is where they've been hitting a little bit of rough water, but he gets through it in fine fashion. No problem at all there. Your Zodiac lap speed, 132 miles per hour. That follows the lap one speed of 135 that Jim just gave you. And they're going to be coming down for the checkered here very shortly. It looks like the Waffle House is not going to be able to catch the Smokin' Joe's. That's assuming Smokin' Joe's completes the lap without any problems.
I believe that the Waffle House has got problems again in that gearbox. Remember, they injured it when they lost an oil line and they burned out a bearing. As we look at our leader, the Smokin' Joe's on the final lap.
Smokin' Joe's, Mark Tate out of Detroit, Michigan area is doing a great job. Boy, there's a great shot from our eye in the sky to show you how the boat just slides sideways through without that skid fin sticking down on the left side of the boat. It would just slide across the top of the water. There's the checkered flag out now for Smokin' Joe's. So 925 points on the day gives Mark Tate third place overall, and fourth place will go off to the Waffle House boat. Mark Evans a little bit disappointed, I'm sure, because he had it in his hand when that bearing went in the gearbox, and that was all she wrote for the boat as far as the championship round was concerned. We'll see more action coming up here. There's Nate Brown, incidentally, former driver, now working with Steve Woomer's team. Also Sandy Tate standing next to him. Water coming up over the canopy as Mark Tate shuts the engines down on the Smokin' Joe, and he lets it kind of guide into the dock. Meanwhile, Mark Evans is already in, and Steve's with him.
Well, Mark, you had a kind of an up-and-down day, wouldn't you say?
Another rookie cruise, so to speak, with Jeff Miner heading the thing up. We did a couple really good thrashes, so to speak, and got back out on the water. When we were out there running with the Bud, we blew a gearbox, which is not a really easy gearbox thing. Is not a really easy thing to change. And the guys got up there and thrashed and changed it, and we got out there at the last minute and gave a run. So I'm really excited about the rest of the year with the crew that I have.
Chip Hanauer has his eye on a championship. Will he get it? He's getting in his boat now. Let's go back to Steve, who's got the Pico crew chief.
Same setup that you used to qualify on the inside?
Yeah, we got the same setup in that we ran against Smokin' Joe, basically.
Good luck?
Yeah, we think we can take them.
We'll see how they do when we come back to Firebird Lake in just a moment. As the boats come around to take the green flag, we've got a report, and it is just a report that the Miss Bud may have hit a buoy in the warm-up lap, but there is no sign of it on the boat. There is the start of the race.
And if indeed he did hit that buoy on the outside as reported, they could rule against the Budweiser and give it a lap penalty. But as of now, we have one heck of a race going, and this is a 5-lapper in the finale.
Well, Pico American Dream took the inside lane. He had lane choice. That put Budweiser on the outside. Now, that boat is probably set up for the inside lane. We'll see just exactly how it handles. It gets very, very light as he comes down. The Labatt eye in the sky view, again, giving you a good shot as to the margin between first and second. You can see the inside boat, the predominantly blue Pico's American Dream, has taken the lead and is in command at this point.
Boy, that aerial shot, Dick, shows how close the Budweiser is to the shore. And Chip Hanauer said earlier, you have about a 2-foot margin of error before you either dig sand or hit something.
And I'll tell you, they've got the boat set up very light, Jim. They said that before. It is very, very light in the water. There's a great shot of Pico American Dream, and there again is the Miss Budweiser, and you can see the difference. Miss Budweiser's sponsons are bobbling back and forth. He's kind of walking across the water. The only time the Pico is leaving the water at all with the sponsons is when he hits rough stuff.
The Pico's American Dream. This may be the last appearance of this boat. The new one's to be unveiled in Detroit. Look at the Budweiser go way outside. Those white buoys mark the outside of the course.
Look at how straight and narrow Dave Vilwalk is. He throws the boat into the corner. This is the only place that he hits rough water is coming out, and the boat's handling it beautifully. He fishtailed just a little tiny bit, but got it right back on course. Meanwhile, Chip Hanauer in the Miss Budweiser is fighting to control that boat. 140 miles per hour, our Zodiac lap speed for the Pico's American Dream. Remember, he set the 1-lap speed record on the inside course for better than 149 miles per hour coming into this race. Still fighting for control of the boat and flying it high. Oh, he hit another buoy. That is another buoy, and he's got it with him on the front of the boat. He can't deny that white buoy with the purple camel on it.
Let's take a look here at Firebird Lake, slow motion. Chip Hanauer, Miss Budweiser, slides way wide in the Miss Bud. He does not make a correction as he tries to come down the front chute. There lays, with a purple camel, the outer marker, and the Budweiser heads straight for it and nails it.
Well, if the report that he hit a buoy in warm-up didn't get him, certainly that one will cost him the race. There you can see it is riding right on the front sponson. He stabbed it dead center. Meanwhile, Pico American Dream comes down for the checkered flag. Dave Vilwalk has got to be smiling ear to ear. He's had a perfect day. Starts out as the champion in the 1996 Gila River Unlimited Casino Cup.
That is his first victory since '94, when he won back-to-back victories at Seattle and San Diego. He was blanked last year in '95. He starts the year out with a victory.
And he'll get that victory lap in now before the crowd. Dave Vilwalk waving back to the many fans. There's the disappointed Bud boat coming in with a buoy on the front.
And here's your O'Jules High Point Championship standings after race number 1 with Pico's American Dream leading the pack.
A very disappointed Chip Hanauer has the Miss Budweiser back in at the dock already talking to his pit crew. Meanwhile, Dave Vilwalk, he's ready to celebrate.
David, nice way to start the season, huh?
Yeah, we're back in the win column. You know, it's been a long time. We went through a pretty tough year last year and no wins, you know, and you know, Larry Wisney, all the people at the Arlen's Test Facility, the people at Pico, you know, got us with, you know, just tremendous equipment, good propellers, great motor program, and boy, it showed with the old boat, we got 2 new ones in the shop. I can't wait to get to Detroit.
And speaking of Detroit, the Gold Cup will be broadcast live on June 2nd. Unlimited Hydroplanes on Speed World is a production of Diamond P Sports in association with ESPN.